Hello and welcome. My name is Kurt Vest. I'm here at Owls. We are together at the Vice tonight. We're putting together tonight one of the patterns from the life cycle of Mayfly. We're going to be putting together a few of these patterns so that hopefully you can pick up some tips and techniques for your own tying at home. Hope you enjoy it. Before we get started tonight, just to explain a little bit about the life cycle of the Mayfly. Mayfly has, four distinct life stages: the nymph, the emerger or the cripple, the adult or the dun, and the spent adult or the spinner. So we're going to be tying patterns that represent each of these stages in the life cycle. In this video, we're going to be tying the Mayfly Emerger. And this pattern we're tying is Charlie Craven's PMD soft hackle emerger. Shout out to Charlie Craven, probably one of the best fly tyers alive today. The guy is incredible, and his take on this, it's kind of a spin off of an RS2, but it's a pattern that's designed to imitate either the crippled emerger of a mayfly, or can even imitate a spinner, a spent spinner. I like it for the emerger, and this is one pattern that I've had a lot of success with. So for hook, I like to use a heavy shank hook on this. This is kind of it's a 2X heavy. This is a TMCO 3769, and this is size 14 for that mayfly. It's a little shorter, stubbier. I kind of like that. I think that imitates a little better what that fly looks like as it's emerging out. But we're using for thread, it's a Veevus 8/0 and kind of a pale yellow. It's kind of a decent color for a pale morning dun, since that's what we're tying. We're gonna start by tying our thread on the hook. And you watch Charlie tie this pattern, and he's got a couple of cool tips for it. The tail on this is Fluoro fiber, and I'm using this gray color. You could use a white color, or just kind of a lighter color. And I'm taking out 2 fibers, and I'm going to tie these fibers in actually kind of at the midpoint here. And I'm going to tie them in by wrapping around the thread and facing them forward. These fibers are pretty slick, and so I'm tying them in facing forward first, and then it's going to be our tail. We're going to fold over backwards, but this way I've got them locked in so that they can't pull out from under those thread wraps, which can sometimes happen. And I failed to mention, but I'm taking this down just a little bit past that barb. I want it to be just a little tiny bit into the bend of that hook, and that just kind of puts those tails down so it looks a little bit less pristine. It kind of puts them into the water surface, into the surface of the water, and helps that to kind of look a little bit more like a cripple or an emerging mayfly. And then I'm bringing these over, and I'm just clipping them just short, or a little bit longer than what that hook shank is. And there's those tails. I do a little different body on this than what I think Charlie does. He does kind of a dubbed body, which looks really good, but I'm a fan of the Biot body, and so this is just a turkey Biot quill, and it's in a pale morning dun color. And I like this. It adds kind of a natural segmentation to the fly, and I think sometimes fish key in on that. They look for trigger factors, and that's one of them. I like that. So I'm going to just bring this in, and I'm tying this in so that it lays down, and it will lay down hopefully flat rather than ribbed. So I'm tying this in with this thinner edge facing towards the bottom. I'm going to be wrapping. So I tie this Biot in, and what I like to do is I just build up a little bit of taper here with my thread. So I want that to be a little bit thicker here. And then a little tip when you're tying with Biots is I like to use this. Yeah, it's just super glue. It's cyanoacrylate glue. It's just crazy glue, but this one is put out by Wapsi. It's Fly Tire Z-Mat. It's just a super glue with a brush applicator. And I just put a tiny, tiny little drop or bead of super glue up there, and that will help. Those biots are real slick and they can get brittle with fish. So this just helps to add a little bit of durability. So I've got that biot tied in, and I'm gonna put a little hackle plier on so that I can just hold this a little bit easier. And I'm wrapping this biot up the hook shank. Just kind of touching turns here and overlapping. Again, I want that fuzz side to be kind of overlapped here, so it produces a smoother taper and a smoother body. So that biot body looks nice. I like that. Just kind of that rib that biot gives to it. And with that little extra bead of super glue underneath, should be tough as nails. And that little tail just kind of flops out. So for the wing, we're gonna do another clump of this fluoro fiber. For this clump, I'm gonna take 10 or so fibers. I'm just kind of eyeballing 10 or so fibers from the package, and these are going to be doubled over, and this just kind of imitates the wing. So I've taken those, I maybe had less than 10, I maybe had 8, but I've doubled them over, so I've got 16 fibers. We're doing math. We'll tie these in. With 2 or 3 wraps on one side, and then I'm just going to fold this back, and we'll just do a wrap over this other side and just kind of secure these wings in. So it's just kind of a splayed wing up on top, and then I bring this back and I trim this off just a little bit beyond the body, so about to even with the end of the hook there, end of the hook. And there's our wing. And now for our soft hackle, we're going to use, this is a whiting, this is one of their 4B hen capes, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to take a feather off up high on the neck, something that's got a pretty short fiber that can imitate my legs. Okay, so this will be our legs on this bug. And you know, these soft hackles, they're designed to, they kind of pulse and move and kind of undulate in the water. It does actually add some movement to the fly, which is, again, I think one of those trigger factors for fish when they're really keyed in on the emerger. I think they can see some of that movement that these soft fibers give, and I think they eat it for that point alone. So we're gonna dub that body now, and I'm just using, this is the Trout Hunter or the Nature's Spirit. This is their fine natural dubbing, and the color is this Infrequence color. You could also use this PMD color. They're pretty imperceptible. They're pretty much the same, but I like this. It's kind of a pale yellow olive color if you had to describe it to somebody who didn't know what that meant. That word Infrequence is kind of a pale yellow olive, just a perfect PMD color. So again, just kind of dubbing this thinly, just a real thin, tight noodle about 1.5 to 2 inches long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dub this kind of in front of and behind the wing and the legs here. So I'm pulling up my wing and my legs that I just tied in, that hackle, soft hackle. And I'm just making a little bit of a prominent ball there for the thorax of the fly. And then lastly, we're gonna just tie our legs and wrap these around. So this delicate little feather, I'm gonna pull out a hackle plier, and we're gonna just start wrapping, and we're gonna kind of fold these legs back so that hopefully they stay out of the way. And I'm gonna wrap these under the wing first. So I get kind of a little bit of a prop up of that wing with the stem of that hackle. And then I'm just gonna start bringing these forward if I can keep these legs laying back where I want them to. And this is supposed to look kind of messy. When these mayflies first emerge out of their nymphal shuck, they're not in great shape. They're kind of raggedy, rough looking. And that's what this pattern imitates so well. It's just kind of this, it's just kind of suggestive to look at. It's the right profile and the right size and hopefully the right color. So we've got that tied in, and just gonna sweep everything back, and I'm just gonna do kind of a final securing wrap over a few of those thread wraps there. We're gonna take that tip of that feather and we're gonna carefully trim that out. And then we're just gonna finish by creating a good head on this fly to secure everything. And then 3 or 4 turn whip finish. I fish this fly in like a dual fly rig. I usually will put it behind like a dun pattern or an adult pattern, because you know, sometimes during a hatch, fish are more keyed into the emerger. Sometimes they're more keyed into the dun. I like to have both represented. And this is really good. It rides real low in the film, and you know, it just kind of imitates what an emerging mayfly or emerging PMD looks like. I'll finish off by putting a little touch of head cement right on the thread wraps. That's just that water-based head cement. And that's ready to fish. So that's Charlie Craven's PMD soft hackle emerger. Little variation with the Biot body, but pretty much the same thing. It's a killer pattern and it does really, really well. Well, we hope you enjoyed those videos. Thanks for watching. If you're looking for more information about tying your own flies, getting started with fly tying or fly fishing, check out owls.com or come into any of Owl's sporting goods stores. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.